Bipolars are just absolutely famous for being able to solve problems that are outside the box.
Bipolar has defined my life to date.
I happen to subscribe to the view that bipolar disorder gives you special power. Everybody thought that things might have been going awry when I brought home 12 different brands of water and put them on the table, and we had a water tasting. And I could tell the difference between tap water, single distilled water and double distilled water just from the taste of it. So everybody thought I was getting a bit off then. And the next day I stayed home and I went down to the dam. I stood in the sun for about 4 hours, just in the one place next to the dam. I walked into the water up to my chest, and there were golden water lilies in the water. And then I was given something. It was sort of like a gift from heaven, so to speak. There's a divine saying, Om Mane Padme Om, which refers to the jewel in the lotus. And if you ask someone to explain what it means, they won't tell you because it's divine and you shouldn't talk about it. I realized as I looked into this lotus that the flower was a tube shape, and if there was a drop of water at the bottom of the tube, that would reflect the sun, so it would shine like a jewel in the lotus. Everybody wanted me to go to hospital. So I thought, oh, fair enough, I'll go. But little did I know that when I walked in the door, everybody disappeared. And then there were 2 psychiatrists with their syringes. And then that's all I remember. I woke up the next day. It took a long time before I got back to normal.
Everyone would think, wow, it'd be great to be manic, but it's really a frightening time.
Mania is not a black and white thing. Mania is a ramp, and you can be at various points along the ramp. And if you're in the early stages of mania, you may actually be very productive.
Everything's bright, everything's glary, everything is just so incredibly, it hurts your eyes. It's just there.
You have the feeling that you are creating all of the events in your world.
Everything's fantastic, it's wonderful.
You feel as if the world is made for you and that you know every aspect of it.
Something will happen and it'll be like deja vu.
Structure. There's no doubt that one becomes very verbal during mania.
You know exactly what you're doing. In fact, you know it so well. You know it from 17 different directions and in 25 different paths. You just keep going. Absolutely no sleep. Virtually hurting because you can't sleep.
It's exciting, it's fun.
You put your head down and your nerves are virtually pinging.
In fact, it has a lot of similarities to someone who's fallen in love.
Really, it really is like pain, and it's just ticking over, ticking over, ticking over, ticking over, and that is where your actions come from.
The first thing is lack of motivation. You don't feel like doing anything. You don't have a motivation, so you're quite happy to lie in bed in the morning. The world is duller. The colours aren't as bright. You start to focus on all these different parts of your body that aren't working as well as they did when you were young.
I'd say the depressive side's pretty awful. And one tends to have more depressions than manias as you get older. Basically, it's insidious. You don't realise you're depressed. You just feel dreadful. But you do have life to get on with. So you get up, you do what you have to do, you put on a happy face, and then you just crash.
Well, you tend to be cautious, you don't take risks. So depression is definitely not a case where you become sort of comatose. My mind was active in the sense that what it did was to take all of the things in my life, all the people I know, all the circumstances, then break them up into pieces and then reassemble them like a jigsaw puzzle, but in a different arrangement.
Anything that comes next to you, near you, you're being horrible. You're pushing it away. So many times it's just as if there's something, membrane in front of your eyes and you just can't see. You could wake up one day and look around the house and see it is covered in cobwebs. But you haven't seen it for the 6 months it's been taken for them to build up. I was moving up here and I had a house that I'd sold in Sydney. So I had a lot of money, poor, bad thing to happen with someone who has bipolar disorder. So I proceeded to spend my way quite happily through, $160,000. And my last little fling was hiring a jet to fly up here at 4 o'clock in the morning from Sydney and flying back that night and being greeted by a couple of policemen who escorted me quite nicely to my parents' house. They saw I was high as a kite. They saw that I was anecdotal, that I'd spent a lot of money. And then it was into the hospital, asking me how much ecstasy I'd been taking. At that stage I didn't even know what it was. They finally decided that I had bipolar. They're behaviours that come about because of the disorder. And they're not who I am, they're how I behave when I'm unwell. How does one separate who you are with what you do? Bipolar.